Folks, welcome to an all-new episode of So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Friday episode. You did it! We made it to the end of the week! And we are going to be doing a huge party over this week's Summer House. We'll be doing a Summer House recap. I'll talk about a couple of other things at the top of the show, but there'll be a timestamp if you want to skip right to the recap. But I'm just glad you're here. How are you doing? Was this week stressful for you? I bet it was. But listen, you got 2 days to rest, recharge, try to forget about Jax Taylor, and then come back on Monday for an all-new pop culture roundup. Listen, the Valley recap I did yesterday, I'm still reeling from it. And then over on the Patreon, I did the Valley recap of the after show on Peacock. And I got to tell you, the after show really, it really goes so much deeper than the show. And I mean that as a compliment. It's and when I say that, it's scary. Like there should be an NC-17 on it. We get way more into the thong. She was a thong in the marital bathroom. We have the thong talk. We have Jax getting pressed about his eBay account, which I go into more on the Patreon. But just to remind you guys, I do have Jax's Rambo lunchbox. Let me take a picture of myself to use on socials as a good influencer. I got Jax's lunchbox on his eBay account a couple of years ago. I'm way ahead of the curve on Sad Cries for Help. And Jax was completely defending the eBay account on the after show. He's like, I'm always going to be a buyer and seller. But he's not buying things. He's like selling things that he owns or that he gets in gift bags. And I'm all for it. I think he needs to go a step further and make merchandise that says, I got this shirt on Jax's eBay. You know, like just lean into it. My God. But yeah, scary. And then we had breaking news. TMZ and the Daily Mail, they all released this story just like an hour and a half ago. This is like I shit you not. This is a great headline. This is like the headline of the week. It says, Jax Taylor got an itch I can't wait to scratch. ... Goes to town on crotch in public. Can you give Pulitzers to TMZ for articles? And I guess Jax was in public and he really did. Like he opened up his sweatpants and really went to town scratching his crotch. And I don't know if he knew paparazzi was there and this was like a FU to the paparazzi or if he genuinely scratches his jock like this. But this guy, it's all man. It's very manly. So much testosterone to scratch your crotch like this in public. And the article reads, Jax Taylor dug into his own personal valley. Jax Taylor digs into his own personal valley in public Thursday, pulling down his sweatpants to give his crotch a good scratch while out running errands. This is when you know it's a slow pop culture news day, when TMZ's like, fuck it, let's run the crotch Jax Taylor story. The reality television star was spotted out and about in Los Angeles Thursday, and he had an itch that he just couldn't help but scratch, digging his fingernails into his pubes. No, into his pubis. Holy shit. Whoever wrote, it doesn't tell us who wrote this article, but compliments to the chef. My God. It says, check out the pic for yourself. Jax is really pulling those sweats down, not quite revealing his intimate parts, but showing skin that ain't far from them either. As you already know, he goes into like, as you already know, Taylor ain't afraid to show all of himself in the public, metaphorical warts and all. See, and then it goes into the Brittany of it all. Bottom line, Jax doesn't have Brittany to scratch his back anymore, but he's definitely got his front covered. Holy shit, TMZ. Really, hats off. That was just such an incredible, because I usually will scan TMZ, Daily Mail, and I mean multiple times an hour. So when I got that, I felt like it was a gift from God, which, by the way, what a gift to receive, because today, Friday, is my birthday. We will be going to Las Vegas to see Dead & Company tonight. And so that's a pretty good way to spend your birthday. But I just wanted to thank you for all of your support these last years in terms of the show. And I guess my birthday wish is to keep growing this and keep growing with you guys. But I just really appreciate y'all being here. And I'm trying not to get all emo in my feelings about my birthday. Because as you get older, you're just like, fuck, this again, it comes so quickly now. Time moves as you get older. And I've always thought this is that when you're a kid, everything is new to you. So time moves so slow because you're taking everything in and you're kind of learning and you're seeing, it's like, remember when summers would last forever? And then now time just moves so fast because we're used to everything. And it just seems like yesterday was my last birthday, and a week before that was the birthday before. But we're doing this, I guess we're doing a whole nother year, and I'm blessed to be here. So thank you all just for being here. Also, really good news. Speaking of being here and appreciating being here, we got an update on Teddy Mellencamp, who is bravely fighting cancer right now. And she gave us an update yesterday, which I thought this was pretty amazing. And she seems to be handling this with so much grace. So she talked about this on her Instagram. She said in February that her melanoma had spread to her lungs and her brain. And she said, honestly, the crying is already done, but I just finished with all of my scans and my tumors have significantly shrunk, which doctors believe means that this will all work out and that I will be back to myself and feeling good. She said that after her 2 remaining sessions of immunotherapy, hopefully I am done and I will be cancer-free. I'm going to keep a positive outlook because that's the way my doctor just spoke to me. He said, you did this, you got this. She said, adding in a gruff mimic of his voice, you got that Mellencamp blood, so you're good. You got that Johnny Mellencamp. So that's huge, you guys, because what she has is really, really intense. And I believe that it was 50-50, and probably even those odds, it just did not look good from everything that I had read and talked about or had heard. So this is truly amazing. Now, obviously not out of the woods, but it's just truly incredible, watching my mom go through all of this and see how much work she put into doctor appointment after doctor appointment after doctor appointment, trying everything. And it's good to see it work out sometimes. It's good to see it because sometimes it just doesn't work out. So this actually made me really, really happy. Now, if you also want to be really, really happy, let me give you a suggestion. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but I do listen to Amy Poehler's podcast, which just started, I think, over a month ago. It's called Good Hang with Amy Poehler. And she interviews all of her friends, but it's like really, I don't know, it's an upbeat conversation. And it's not like talking about hope or anything, but I just think Amy Poehler's good nature brings you hope. And she had Jack Black on this week. And there's another dude, just their energies combined. It is so fun to watch. It is so fun to watch. And you can watch the podcast or you can listen to the podcast. But I don't know, it made me, I just loved both of them together. But I also love listening to this podcast. I'm sure you already listened to it, but if you don't, check it out. If you want to be in a good mood, I highly recommend Amy Poehler's. Isn't that great? In the first 8 minutes of the show, you get Jax Taylor in his crotch, and we get to talk about Amy Poehler, and we talked about Rambo lunchboxes. This, by the way, I said Pulitzer for that TMZ, Pulitzer for this podcast. I don't think there's been one Pulitzer given out for a podcast yet until right now. Also, more good news, if you like music like I do, I love the band Haim, which are 3 sisters. They've released 3 albums so far, and I went back and I listened to their first album, which was released 13 years ago, called Days Gone By, I believe. Is that right? Let's check this out together as a family. But that album is so damn good. I forget how good that album is. Days Are Gone. Sorry, Days Gone By. That's my album title. Days Are Gone. And then their second album was Something to Tell You, and their third album was Women in Music Part 3. But they just announced that their fourth album is going to be coming out in 56 days, guys. Yeah, Haim is back. June 20th, their new album is called I Quit. And Paul Thomas Anderson, one of my favorite film directors, he did Boogie Nights and Magnolia and There Will Be Blood. He shot the album cover, which you can see on Instagram. But I just love these sisters that make music together, and they make really good music together. Like there's like a Fleetwood Mac-esque vibe about their music, but also it's so, I don't know, I love them so much. So that is good news. Trying to focus on the positive here. And then we have new TV this week because on Hulu, Vanderpump Villa released all of their episodes yesterday or last night. And are you going to check this out? This is their second season, And this is a little different because Stassi is a part of this. Stassi Schroeder is making her return to television, working with Lisa Vanderpump. And the first season of this was a little hit or miss. And I think I'm being kind by saying that. They changed up, I think, all of the team behind it. And the second season is supposed to be really good. Now, Stassi has this kind of insane fan base. And I do know Stassi loses it on her birthday on one of the episodes. And I thought, like, when I saw the preview, that was fake. But then somebody working on the show told me, no, that was completely real. She had her dark passenger visit. That's what she calls, like, her evil side. So we'll see. I mean, like, she definitely has a huge fan base. Now, speaking of ABC and Hulu, they're all owned by the same corporation. They had a function, a Get Real event, kind of announcing a lot of their unscripted television coming up. And they have a lot of new series. They have a new reality docuseries following the Nader sisters. So Brooks Nader, who was just on Dancing with the Stars, Sarah Jane, Grace Ann, and Mary Holland. Why do those three other ones have like two first names? Sarah Jane, Grace Ann, and Mary Holland. Or are those their last names as well? Anyways, who cares? So we have Love Thy Nader. That's a new reality show that'll be their first season. And then we have another show called Overboard for Love, which is a new dating competition series executive produced by Call Her Daddy's Alex Cooper. And this show will put a group of singles aboard a luxury yacht where they mix, mingle, and find love. But access to extravagant amenities must be earned. As romance ignites and alliances form, ultimately one couple will emerge victorious at the end of the cruise. I don't think anybody remains victorious when you participate in a dating show, especially on some sort of boat. That just seems drama on drama, which, by the way, speaking of dating competition series, Love Hotel, Bravo's answer to The Bachelor, premieres this Sunday on Bravo. You got Shannon Bedore, Countess Luann, Ashley Darby, and Giselle Bryant all trying to find love in Cabo. And I watched the first episode, and it was really cute, and there were really some funny moments. And they do a lot of flashbacks to, Luann and the bushes and just kind of some of your favorite reality moments from these ladies. But I actually kind of enjoyed it. So I'm curious to hear what people think. And I can't wait to see the second episode. Now, if you are still following the Kardashians, I think a lot of people have dipped out on their reality series, but there's a new Kardashian spinoff announced by Khloe Kardashian at this event called Calabasas Behind the Gates. And this unscripted series will focus on the lives of the friends and neighbors in the Kardashians' exclusive Calabasas community. There should be just one episode where they try to keep Kanye out of Calabasas. We do not have an official release date, but it is currently in development. And Khloe Kardashian is producing that. So on Vanderpump Villa, which I just spoke about, there is an episode with the ladies of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which their show comes back in mid-May. So get ready for the second season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. We also had announcements for Dancing with the Stars. The crocodile hunter, remember him, Mr. Steve Irwin? His son is going to be in this season of Dancing with the Stars. I believe that is... his name's Robert Irwin. He's a wildlife conservationist. He's the first celebrity contestant announced. So that's going to premiere in fall of 2025, and we'll probably get more announcements forecast in the future. And we also have season 10 of Bachelor in Paradise. It's going to be its 10th season this summer, and Jesse Palmer is going to host. It's going to be joined by bartender Wells Adams again. And this season, they are going to have Hannah Brown, who was the former Bachelorette, as host of an all-new Champagne Lounge segment during the rose ceremony. So that seems like a lot going on there. And then on Bachelor in Paradise, they're going to have contestants from The Golden Bachelor. Golden Bachelor alumni will also join the cast, and they say proving love has no age limit. But you know what? Maybe it should. Like, I don't know if that's like, if you want 70-year-old dudes flirting with like 30-year-old women. I mean, it might make for good television, or it might be really, really scary, but that's happening. And then The Golden Bachelor season 2, they have announced that they have their new Golden Bachelor. His name is Mel Owens. He's a 66-year-old former NFL player turned lawyer. 66 seems kind of young. I want 70s and up, but I'll take it. So The Golden Bachelor is now going to be in production. It's going to premiere in fall of 2025, and Jesse Palmer will continue to host that. And by the way, I talked to Jesse Palmer on So Bad It's Good like over a year ago, but that was a really, really fun interview. Then Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is officially renewed on ABC for another season with Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, so you had a bunch of things announced and talked about at this event. So a lot of exciting things happening on ABC and Hulu. So I guess set your DVR. You don't need to set your DVRs because if you have Hulu, I guess you can watch it all there. Okay. Anywho, moving on to Summer House. Are we ready for Summer House? Now, I just recapped 2 of the episodes earlier this week, so I got caught up, and now that this is this week's episode. And after this Summer House, Paige DeSorbo showed up on Watch What Happens Live, and I have to tell you, man, she is on fire. You know, there's nothing that really can compete with somebody that is really funny and kind of speaks common sense. You know, you're like, she gets asked a question, she doesn't shy away from it, she handles it very, with a lot of humor. But at the same time, there's a lot of common sense in her answers to everything that Andy asked. And I thought, it's very different than somebody like Craig, where you're like, oh, does this guy need a hug? Where you feel like Paige is a very strong, self-contained person. And I found that kind of to be an interesting difference. And if I was Craig, I would be very rocked by the fact of Andy asking, yo, are you cool that Craig's dating again? And she was like, oh my God, yeah, I love that for him. Oh, brutal. I mean, just brutal. I mean, the further we get out of that relationship, you're just like, yeah, I mean, it's best for both of them that they move on. But also Hannah and Paige, their Giggly Squad book, came out, I think, this past week, and it's like number 2 on the New York Times bestsellers list. Remember, Lala couldn't even make the bestsellers list. I mean, that's really quite an accomplishment, and it just shows that they have paved a way that is far outside the Bravo audience. Like, I would imagine a good core of their audience does not watch Bravo. I mean, is probably very familiar, but they have built an audience that is not reliant on Bravo. And I think that's very different than a lot of Bravo celebrities that use Bravo to kind of sell their wares, and they're really tied down and tied in with Bravo. But I feel like Paige has really escaped that. And I think, Hannah, obviously not on any of the shows, but she doesn't need to be. I think really the prime position, and I think Ariana is now following this to a degree, is like if you can get work outside of sharing any aspect of your life, that is so much better. Like mystery is, let's bring back mystery. Let's bring back, I don't want to know about Jax scratching his crotch in public. I literally just read a TMZ article where we used the word pubis. No. Let's get back to knowing less about each other. Or, then you really appreciate the random podcast appearance or the interview where you're like, oh, I didn't know that. I had no idea this person was doing this in a relationship. There is no mystery anymore. And let's bring back mystery. Are you with me? No? Okay. Well, it was just an idea. Okay. So this episode of Summer House is, what is this called? What is this goofy show called? This one is episode 11. This is the title. It's called Blurred Tan Lines. Okay, you see what they did there? Now, if you've watched this episode, you know what that title means. If you didn't watch that episode, you are about to be in for a gigantic surprise because the boys, or da boys, as I call them, they were having a conversation about their favorite types of pornography. And Shy Carl was like, I like tan line porn. Wait, what? Tan line porn? I did not even know. I'm not ignorant. I know about porn. I know about pornography. Do not pull this clip, anybody. I feel like I'm on Jeff Lewis's show right now. I didn't even know that there was a subsect of pornography that was just tan lines. But Carl likes tan line porn. And then you got to think, there was a moment in young Carl Radke's life when he was a young boy where something happened in his life that involved tan lines that left such a mark on his being that now he gets very attracted to tan lines. If you date Carl, he's like, no, don't put that sunscreen on. No, let the sun hit it. Let the sun just hit. But I was like, holy shit, that's why I love reality television. Because each of us, we are like butterflies. We are unique snowflakes, all of us. And we all have these differing little intricacies. And, even aside from pornography, but especially with pornography. And to find out little Shy Carl Radke loves tan line porn. I mean, it seemed like Wes Wilson liked all types of porn. He was like, I break the internet when I go, oh man, I like a little porn hubby. Also, Wes and Jesse need to chill with like putting an EY on top of everything. Oh, are you going to get a handy tonight? Oh, a little shotty with me? Like, dude, just say you want to do a shot. I don't need to hear, let's do a little shotty. Oh, you sorry. Anyways, the description the cable company gives us says Tom Schwartz visits the house for the first annual Snoozefest Party. Lexi feels betrayed by Jesse. So a very solid description for this episode. The Snoozefest Party is a party that the bedbugs started where they are so wise. They're tired of getting made fun of for laying in their beds in the house. So they're doing a party where the beds are outside. I see what you did there. You trying to maneuver around the rules that I want to create for Summer House, and I'll allow it. But still, and also the fact that Paige wasn't even there the first night when they're doing crafts, arts and crafts, and like doing the heavy lifting, Paige comes the next day. This Paige is always looking to get out of work. I see you. I respect your acumen, but I see you. So we have the bedbug party, and Tom Schwartz obviously there. And just so you know, like, I would imagine they give Tom Schwartz like $30,000 for the weekend. So it's a nice little chunk of change. And it's a way to keep him in that NBC Universal family. He's not going in there just to visit, like, can I visit the Summer House? No, my boy is getting paid to be in the Summer House. Also, we had bad news on Watch What Happens Live. Paige DeSorbo did say that the Summer House door that I was in this week's episode, I said we need to make it harder to get in that Summer House door because it always catches and there's always just fun little comedic moments. I wanted to make it even harder. Let's make that door even more fucked up. Well, I guess the door gets fixed in one of the upcoming episodes, and that's a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Leave that door broken. Break it further. No. I do not want it fixed. Also, Summer House, I will say, this is not a popular opinion, but Summer House is my favorite show on Bravo, I think, right now. Because you have that ultimate insane darkness on the Valley. But even before the Valley premiered, Summer House is that, like, I've had Summer House on in the background when I'm just doing things. Like, it's a show that's like vibes. There's not a lot of heavy dialogue conversations, yet I always just enjoy having it on. Are you guys like that at all? But I love just vibes, man. We're just vibing with Summer House. I don't know. I love it. Okay, we start off and we're already kind of in the Hamptons because Kyle and Amanda get there first. And they're like, first one's here. And then Wes and Jesse, the car of masculinity, they're just like making sounds in the car on the drive up, like, bleep, bleep, bro, what up, dude, bro? Also, it gave me another idea for Summer House. What if we just did a 43-minute episode all cutting it back and forth from the car ride? Like, because we only see like 30 seconds of the car ride. Now, this could be a horrible idea where you're like, oh, there's a reason why. But wouldn't you love like to just hear the random conversations? And like, listen, Peacock, if you're listening, you do a lot of like interesting new content. Let's just throw out Summer House, like car ride up or car ride down or whatever the direction. Anyways, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want full audio of these car rides. You know, Wes and Jesse are just ripping farts in this with the windows rolled up, hoping that the camera doesn't pick it up. You know, like they're probably just partying their balls off already. Anyways, Jesse awkwardly has to start up some sort of conversation with Wes. And he's like, dude, last weekend was a big weekend for you. You said goodbye to Ciara and she said goodbye back without even smacking your hands away. And Wes is like, I know, dude, I know. And we flash back to that where Wes is like, goodbye. And it's, you know, it's the best he's had with Ciara this season, right? So baby steps. Anyways, Jesse's like, oh, yeah. And Wes is like, yeah. And Jesse's like, my boy is back. Maybe she'll say hi when you come in today. And Wes is like, don't even get my hopes up. What's up, Jasper's mom? And Jesse's like, she's a MILF, GILF, Wes says. And then they just start like MILF, GILF, DILF, WILF. Like, it's like, guys, we get it. You're 5 years old. And then Jesse goes, I'm not allowed to say that anymore, actually. Lexi's just like, you should want to change your behavior to protect us. And I'm like, you know, Wes is like, I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? Jesse's like, yeah, it's called growing up. Oh, Jesse, don't ever lose that childhood sense of whimsy, which is just really like, don't lose your horniness, Jesse. But also, this episode really shows us how he will say one thing to a group of people and another thing to Lexi. And he'll paint himself to be this kind of overall victim of like, I guess that's what love makes you do. And it's like, bitch, she ain't trying to ask anything of you with this. She just wants to be able to trust you. And you are painting her in. By the way, this is a Lexi appreciation podcast. She made a lot of damn sense in this episode. And if you do not see that, I know she's young and I know it's like goofy to be a model and all that stuff and her sisters, but my God, she makes a lot of sense. And I think we kind of just like, throw her away a little bit. And I'm worried that she will not come back next season because she's not made really strong inroads with the females. Now, who knows? Maybe this next couple of episodes that changes, but it really worries me because we know after the fact that she had a birthday party and everybody responded to her, but Ciara didn't even respond about even coming to her birthday. And I feel like they've taken this Jesse Solomon side in some weird way, even though I believe Jesse Solomon is 100% in the wrong. No, I'm not saying he's overall this horrible person because I love the work he does with the Cancer Society. I mean, nobody is 100% evil. Maybe Jax Taylor, but no. But at the same time, if you are not, you're going to get called out on your behavior. And if you don't learn from that, like use this as a learning tool. But I believe Jesse Solomon truly loves being on reality television. Like he truly loves it. And that's why he gets messy. I think he talks his smack to the girls and all that because the camera's going to be on him. And I think he truly loves that. I think Wes got a lot of attention last season, and I think Jesse wants that same attention, but he's trying to skirt that line of how can I look like a good guy, but also still be a bad boy? How can I get my toes sucked, but also how can I be a loving boyfriend, right? But I guess it's just called growing up. Wes is like, growing up? Never heard of her, bro. In a talking head, Jesse says, I've made a lot of concessions. I'm trying hard to make this work. Like, bitch, it's not a peace treaty. I've made a lot of concessions. This is not two warring factions. You are two people. I've made a lot of concessions. You're 14 days into this relationship. Jesse goes, I've told one of my best girlfriends to not touch my arm. I'm unfollowing hot girls on Instagram. Holy shit. Hey guys, am I looking at the Nobel Peace Prize winner? This guy is going above and beyond. He's unfollowing hot girls on Instagram, and he told Ciara last week at an event to stop touching his arm. Holy shit. Are we looking at by the way, rest in peace to the Pope, but are we looking at the next Pope? Because this guy has been touched by God. Jesse says, I'm hoping for smooth roads ahead. You are not going to have smooth roads ahead. They call Carl from the car and they're like, poor guy had to drive alone. Poor Carl, man. Listen, now that the Lindsay Carl thing is over, I like that I can really love Lindsay, but also appreciate Carl's journey again. But I do love that he's just like always kind of alone. Carl picks up and they're like, Carl! Thank God they didn't bark. Woo, woo, woo! They asked her, are you excited for the weekend? And he's like, well, we have Schwartz coming in. And Wes is like, what's the lowdown on him, sea beast? So remember in their vernacular, their goofy, 20s vernacular, everything, like I would be Ryan Beast. You guys would be listeners beast or viewers beast. And Carl is Carl Beast. So Wes is like, what's the lowdown on him, sea beast? Should we call him Schwartz Beast, Tom Beast, or like Schwartz Nation? And Carl's like, well, whatever he dislikes the most, that's what you got to go with. And they're like, oh, boys, guys night. So we're at the house. The cars are pulling up. The door comes in. We got Carl Radke in the summer house. We get the, normal greetings. Hey, you look pretty, Amanda, blah, blah, blah. And, Amanda Batula lets us know that her swim line is finally launching and she just could never have prepared for this. The likes, the engagements, the shares, the comments. And we see Jesse's comment on one of the posts and it says, I think it's safe to say I'm excited to see this product, which is a great way to respect Lexi. Because normally Jesse's like comments on an Instagram of Amanda would be like, I want to put my dick in everything I see in this picture. But this is a nice way to say, I'm a horny guy, but I'm keeping it classy online. I think it's safe to say I'm excited about this product. But she says it blew up. and it feels really, really good. Also, I will say, Amanda's wearing those serial killer glasses that like Jeffrey Dahmer wore, but she pulls it off. I'm not even joking. I told Rebecca, I was like, I like those glasses. I think you'd look good in them. And she goes, the serial killer glasses? And I was like, they're not serial killer glasses. But I think in scenes like this, you see how happy Amanda is this season. And I love her mental health journey. And she said she found the right cocktails of SSRIs. And I think that just makes such a world of difference. And we're seeing it. Like, she just looks effervescent, right? But Amanda says it was so terrifying to do this. And there was a lot of people anticipating the swimwear line, myself included, and Jesse Solomon. I can't wait for your swimwear line, Amanda. Yeah. Anyways, they're talking about Schwartz getting here, and Schwartz pulls up in an SUV, and his head's hanging out of the SUV like a dog, just looking at cars when you drive with a dog. And Schwartz has gone through it at different times, from Winter House to Summer House. So this time he does not have the heat of Sandoval or the divorce of Katie Maloney looming over. He is the Schwartz beast. Like, he just gets to go and make money and drink this weekend and not have Jax Taylor or Tom Sandoval there. This is like, by the way, I would almost want Tom Schwartz on Summer House. I know that's like sacrilegious, but we got to get him away from this group. We got to get him. I think there is hope for Schwartz. Anyways, guess who doesn't have trouble with this door? Schwartz. Schwartz just walks right in. Like, it's magic. Like, this guy has the touch on the door. But even Kyle's like, oh my God, you were able to open the door. Holy crap. And so it's a bunch of like happiness. They see that Kyle's DJ equipment is set up. Any kind of male is excited by DJ equipment. They're like, oh, an extension of our penis. Schwartz immediately brings Carl and Kyle in for a group hug. He's like, this is a special one for me. I don't want to get emotional here, but I'm not secretly divorced. I'm not mired in controversy. And we flash back to all of the times from Winter House and Summer House that he's had shit he's been dealing with. And I remind you that, remember, Schwartz was in the first episode of Summer House, which was a 2-hour episode of Vanderpump Rules, and they snuck Summer House in there, and Stassi and Katie and Schwartz. Remember that drunk scene with Kyle and Stassi in the hot tub? This is pre-Amanda Batula. And Schwartz had to leave because he got some like blood infection, or he like scraped his legs. I don't know. Anyway, we immediately cheers with a lover boy. I do want to ask a question to the people in the Summer House. Are you guys even drinking the lover boy, or does Kyle just put it in your hands and go, oh, the camera's on you, let me put a lover boy in your hand? Because I have a theory that they are not even, like, you can't keep just, no offense to lover boy. I'm saying even with these seltzers, you just can't keep pounding these seltzers. And I don't mean it's bad for you. I just mean like, it's like, you got to switch it up sometimes, right? But George is like, I love you guys. I miss you guys. And then we've got Gabby, pregnant Lindsay, and Lexi coming in. Yeah, that's what we call her, pregnant Lindsay. And Schwartz gets to meet Lexi, which, by the way, I was like, uh-oh. That's Jesse's girl, Schwartz, but Schwartz doesn't look like... And by the way, I think Schwartz and his girlfriend that he announced last year, I don't think they're any longer together, right? Anyway, Schwartz sees Lindsay. He's like, oh, you're a beautiful, glowing mom. And Lindsay laughs. Hi, Schwartzy, I miss you. And Lindsay's like, did you already hug that fuck nut Carl? Fuck that guy. Anyway, Schwartz asks, how far along are you? And she's like, 6 months. He's like, oh my God. Ciara comes out of the car. She's like already in a cowboy hat. The baby, we find out, Lindsay's baby, is already kicking. Ciara comes in the door finally. By the way, this is good vibes so far for the Summer House. Everybody's hugging each other. Everybody's happy. And then Jesse and West Beast are the two last people to pull up to the Summer House. And we get a lot of, what's up, dog? What's up, Schwartz? What's up, Schwartz Beast? What's up, Tom Dog? Yeah. Oh, cool. Jesse sees Ciara and kind of like hugs her. And she's like, whoa. Let's fist bump instead. And in the talking head, Ciara's like, you told me not to touch you. Make it make sense. I'm going to swerve you too. Who's swimming who? Who's swerving who? Anyways, there's just so many like what's up dogs, like repeated what's up dogs in this scene. But Ciara keeps going. He's worried about me touching him. He needs to be worried about where he's putting that toe. And then we flash back to my favorite audio clip ever 3 weeks ago where Jesse is getting his toe sucked and we just see a shot of the windows and we hear we hear Jesse's voice, and now I'm hard. And I'm hard. That's what he needs to be worried about, Ciara says. Okay, so a little bit of bad vibes now that Jesse is there. Anyways, Carl hugs Ciara, and you got to pay attention to these hugs because we do know that Carl, next week's episode, tells Ciara that he has a crush on her. And Paige was on Watch What Happens Live and said she does not ship them as a couple. She's like, I like them both as people. And that really kind of took the wind out of my sails. I wish Andy hadn't even done a poll on that, because there's a weird part of me that wants Ciara to be with Carl over Jesse. And I believe more people are supporting the Jesse Ciara than the Carl Ciara. Now, you probably are screaming, Ciara doesn't have to be with any of them. That's true. She doesn't. And I hope she isn't. But it still would be fun to watch, the Carl thing, I think. Anyways, Ciara lets us know that me, Ciara, Amanda, and Paige, we are throwing the first Snoozefest. And they are bringing the bed festivities outdoors so everyone can experience. By the way, you should treat it like your room, Ciara. Ciara trashes her room every weekend. She just dump a bunch of trash on the summer house lawn to create the actual experience of bed bugging. But they've got sheets, they've got pillows, they've got dream catchers and beds. The only thing we're missing is sheep, actually, Ciara says. They bring in all of the boxes from the front porch. That's always a rite of passage in summer house. And Ciara is sending the guys away for a guys' night. And Ciara is staying back with the ladies for arts and crafts time. Does that ever piss you off, ladies? Are ladies just assumed to like arts and crafts? Is that accurate, or is that something that's so stereotyped and not true at all? Because I'm a guy, I do not like crafting at all. And I've got to imagine there's a good amount of women that don't like crafting at all. No, I got to stay home and make dream catchers. Also, our resident pervert, according to Paige DeSorbo, Imrul, is not going to be here this week. And we flash back to last week when he's like, oh, I'm not sure if I can make it next weekend, right? He might have a party play date, which is, I think, code for orgy. And Jesse Solomon busts out laughing when he says play date in the flashback, which, by the way, we do not support slut shaming. And we do know that there is so many colors to the rainbow of Imrul besides just sex. But I love that the sex stuff keeps getting brought up, right? Somebody's got to do it. And Jesse Solomon is so envious of Imrul because Imrul gets to have sex without attachment. And that's truly what Jesse Solomon wants to do. And by the way, it's truly probably what Wes Wilson wants to do. They have to go at feelings to get the sex, where Imrul goes by vibes, gets the sex, and seems like he leaves on good terms with all partners, right? So that's the way to go, I would imagine. Anyways, they're talking about the guys going out. It's going to be a crazy night. And then they bring up Toggate. And they're like, no, let's not bring up Toggate, Jesse says. That's a boys' night conversation. And there's a shot of Lexi oh, God, not Toggate. Oh. The girls are unloading the arts and craft boxes, and the guys have gone to Imrul's room to reenact the scene of the crime. And Kyle's like, okay, so Jesse, there's two girls in the bed, and you just hop in, you just come in and you hop in the bed. And Jesse's like, no, it's a great question. So they're all laying this way, and so I make sure I'm out of the situation. I love how he always so I know not to be anywhere near this because of cooties and things of that nature. And I'm trying to be very respectful, even though I'm the one that barged in without getting an invite, right? So they're under the covers. I'm over the covers, you guys. And look, this is barely a queen bed. Give me a flippin' break. And he goes, so my feet are at their heads. So my foot was right next to their faces, right? So an Imrul, this bastard Imrul, goes, suck his toe. And I was like, yeah, suck my toe. Just a joking, just very joking. And then one of the girls sucks my toes. And Schwartz is like, you mean prolonged? And Jesse's like, no, just a little. It was, and Schwartz is like, it wasn't deep throating the toe. And Kyle's like, she slobbed that toe, dude. She slobbed it. And Jesse goes, I didn't even know that was a thing. I don't even know that toes are used sexually at all. I mean, it's like if somebody liked tan line porn. I didn't even know it was a thing. But, it was a drunken joke. And I had to tell Lexi. I do think at this point that Jesse does not remember that they probably have audio saying, now I'm hard. And by the way, today they are filming the Summer House reunion, or Thursday, today, I believe, they're filming the Summer House reunion. So I don't know. I mean, we better have a whole fucking episode about Toggate. But Schwartz is like, Lexi was actually upset about it? That sounds like Katie Maloney. But Jesse goes, listen, I'm going to be a good boy tonight, right? The boys are going to have fun together. We're going to guide Carl's cock. And Carl cracks up. Everybody, by the way, yes, let's guide Carl's cock, right? The girls are still crafting. All the guys are saying goodbye to the ladies. The fellas go out on the town in the Hamptons to this restaurant. And the guys are just all sitting around. And Schwartz is like, we're so fucking cute right now. They're eating family style, just boys being boys. And Jesse goes, let's get a couple appies. No, let's get a couple appetizers. Not appies, appetizers. We're not in a Vince Vaughn film. Anyways, Carl gets a non-alcoholic Heineken 0. Props to my boys. Jesse gets a dirty martini. And then Schwartz is like, a shot of Patron? And Jesse's like, you're going to do a shot ski without us, bro? And Schwartz is like, oh my God, that's actually rude. Put Patty Ron shots for the table, right? Now, at the girls' they took a break from crafting to have a girls' dinner. So they're eating around the table, having pasta and broccoli and all of this stuff. And Lexi lets the girls know that, oh my God, Jesse is already texting me tonight. And they're like, already? And Amanda says, so did Jesse make it official with you or not? And he said that you guys were exclusive, but what does that mean? That you're boyfriend and girlfriend? And Gabby's like, nah, that's different. I looked it up on TikTok. Which, can we open the schools already? I looked it up on TikTok. I mean, I am saying let's keep it out. Like, it would be great if the encyclopedia or the Britannica is like, yes, we will. Like, where TikTok is not the source for all news. But I guess to Gabby and the rest of America, it is. But they said it's very millennial of you to look it up on TikTok. Lexi says, we were standing in the kitchen and, he said, look, there's really no difference. You're my girlfriend. But also I feel like there has to be just a transition time of us still getting to know each other. So Lexi is saying, I don't think I'm even ready. But even Jesse in private is saying, exclusive does mean you're my girlfriend, right? We cut back to the boys. The food is on the table. And Jesse asks, hey, how was your drive with Ciara to Montauk? And Carl was like, oh, it's good. I guess they had a drive to Montauk. And they talked about it at the end of last week's episode. And then Jesse goes, no OTPHJs, which they put up on screen. That means over the pants handy. Don't worry, guys. I looked it up on TikTok. That is what it's. No OTPHJs? No OTPH. OTPA. Carl goes, no, we were just talking and catching up. And then Carl goes, no, obviously she's gorgeous. No, but anyways, Jesse goes, hey, so the event on Wednesday, Ciara kept making jokes with me and she kept grabbing my arms. You know, these women that can't stop touching you. So I was like, whoa. Just as a joke. Everything's a joke to Jesse. Toe sucking's a joke. Grabbing arms is a joke. But it was like me setting a little boundary. And then when I showed up today, I tried to give her a hug and she was like, no. And Kyle's like, give us a little context. And Jesse goes, basically, I was told that I was being too flirtatious with Ciara the weekend Lexi was gone. Kyle's like, you were told that you were being too flirty. Jesse was like, yeah, I mean, people said that to Lexi, and then Lexi was upset about it. I love that he always excuses himself from any sort of responsibility. Yeah, people said that to Lexi, and then Lexi had to respond. I had nothing to do with it. And Kyle's like, well, but Ciara didn't say that. And Kyle's like, well, do you think it's how you put it up in the moment at the event? Jesse goes, I'm trying to respect Lexi, so I don't really know what to do. I'm just a boy, not yet a man, you guys. I'm trying to respect my lady. She has weird, She has weird wants and needs. I'm trying to respect. My head's just flooded right now. We come back from commercial and Wes is like, here's a weird conversation. What's the weirdest niche porn category you found yourself gravitating towards? Great. We're having a boys' night. Of course it's going to get to porn at some point. Also, invite these guys to like family functions. They must be fun in any sort of game situations. And then Jesse's like, I love massage porn. And Schwartz is like, well, that's pretty PG-13. And Jesse's like, I mean, it doesn't always end that way. It's rated X, brother. And then Carl gives us the revelation of the century saying, well, I had a thing. I love he says, I had a thing. I had a thing where like I just searched tan lines and the music just drops out. And everybody's like, Wes's face is so amazing. He's like, what? Zoinks? In fact, I got to take a picture of this. He's like, zoinks? Tan line porn? And then everybody's like, all right. Schwartz is trying to not to laugh. And Kyle's like, that is niche. And Wes is like, is that a joke? And I will guarantee you Wes has whacked off to tan line porn since. In fact, I've got to ask this dude, have you whacked off to tan line porn ever since you heard Carl? But Carl explains it. He goes, it's an aesthetic look. And Jesse goes, my guy's into tan lines. You know, and then Jesse immediately pulls it up on his iPhone. He goes, whoa, Carl, I think I like this. Like, you're at a classy restaurant. And Wes is like, this is exactly what I thought it would be. In a talking head, Wes goes, it's so funny because it's so perfectly Carl Beast. It's like super niche and out there, but it's still so wholesome. If you looked at my porn history, beep, 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 you could ever imagine. Beep, 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 beep. They just bleep out all of this stuff. And then Wes goes, I have thought that could this be something that I'm into? But I think my taste is too far gone to even go backwards back to tan lines. Wes is whacking off to door jam porn. I don't even know what that is. Is that a thing? Like, I'm just trying to think of the most neat, like toenail porn. And Wes cracks himself up. Wes, you just like stopped yourself from running for president one day. Anyways, we're now going out to a second location for guys' night. It's 9:19 p.m. We're back at the summer house, and Amanda shows us off the first dream catcher that she has made. Gabby and Lexi are in the foyer working on pink bows, and everybody's all hot and bothered about all the crafts. They're like, oh my God, that looks amazing. Holy shit. And then Lindsay outside is talking with Ciara and Amanda and talking about Lexi and Jesse. And Lindsay's like, well, he keeps like secretly telling her, like, he's like, I consider you my girlfriend. And Amanda's like, well, he's bringing up things to us that he's like worried about, like, I see all these yellow flags with Lexi, or whatever we're calling it. And we flash back to Jesse talking to the girls saying, oh, Lexi's like, are you still going to comment crazy shit on the girls' Instagrams? And then another ride in the car where Jesse is once again shit-talking Lexi to the girls going, I'm scared she's like a jealous girl. And then another scene where Jesse is talking to Paige going, she's like, you've been following all these girls? Then she noticed I unfollowed a bunch of girls. And I was like, all right, I really feel like I'm being watched. You are, by the cameras of Summer House, and we hear and see everything that you're saying. In the scene, Amanda goes, I don't want to call them red flags. And then Paige is like, pink flags. And so they're like, oh, like yield, it's yellow flags. Amanda says, well, but I kind of feel like the conversations that we're having with them are like different than the reality. And Ciara's like, do you think Lexi knows about the red flag talk? And Lindsay's like, I don't know. Help a sister out. You got to talk to her. And Amanda says, I feel like I'm in a very weird position because I love Jesse. I truly do. Like, Amanda is a Jesse apologist, but she says, I love that he's able to confide in us and talk to us about what is happening. But at the same time, I don't want it to feel like I'm talking about Lexi behind her back. Yeah, but you love that he confides in you. But if he confides in you complete bullshit, that's not confiding in you. But he says, Lexi is my friend. Remember, Lexi was brought on this show as Amanda's friend. I'm putting that in heavy quotations. Amanda says, if this was Paige in this situation, I would go and tell her everything that Jesse was saying. I just want to do the right thing and it's going to hurt someone. And I'm hard. Anyways, Lexi says Jesse's texting her just gibberish. And we cut to the guys out. They're dancing. We see them on a boat on the beach at night posing. it's just typical guys' night. Anyways, the ladies are starting to go to bed. I love that the ladies get their shit done, and it is bedtime for the summer house for the ladies. Around 2:30, the boys get back to the summer house. Once again, Schwartz enters the door without any kind of problem with the door. The guy has magic. Jesse immediately goes into Lexi going, I missed you so much, while she's in bed. Wes is out there filming content on his phone with a macaroni and cheese box. He's like, this is what it's like coming home at 3 a.m. with boys. Yeah. And then we see Carl awkwardly dancing, and they're air frying like chicken nuggets and fries in the same air fryer container. And DJ Kyle Cooke on the ones and twos starts DJing, and the music goes really loud, and he accidentally turns the speaker on in Amanda's bedroom while she's asleep. And Amanda's like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? And immediately calls Kyle, like, you turned the speaker on in the bedroom. And he's like, I accidentally turned the speaker on in my bedroom. Hey, babe. Hey, I'm sorry. And she's like, yeah, you woke me up. Enough with the music. Come on. He's like, all right, I'm sorry. Party's over, folks. The party police has been called. Kyle's trying to like shove as much food into his gullet before he has to forced to go to bed. So the summer house is shutting down for the evening finally. Schwartz at first is on his bed. He is on his bed at first on his phone. And then at some point, Schwartz passes out on the floor. How do you go from a bed to on the floor? What could possibly, and what I thought was in my sick head, I was like, dude, I bet this guy has a weird thing. I bet he like masturbated to tan line porn and didn't want to do it on the summer house bed. And also, you could probably get cooties on there from Imrul, so he didn't want to do that. Now, it's Saturday, August 17th at 8:25 a.m. Schwartz is already up. He's cleaning up in the summer house, putting ranch bottles away. And Lindsay comes up. They're both wearing red sweatshirts. That's the kind of detail I love in the summer house. Jesse is spooning Lexi. Paige DeSorbo. No, Paige DeSorbo's not there yet. Ciara's already been out and about getting coffee, got some bacon, egg, and cheese. They call Paige right now, and she immediately picks up. She's in the car, and they're like, are you feeling better that you took some time away? And she's like, yeah, I feel good. How are you guys? And so I guess Paige just was like so stressed out that she didn't come on Friday night. So Paige said, like, listen, like parts of my body are becoming numb. That's how stressed out she is. And you could say, yeah, she has that 66 city Giggly Squad tour, but it's the Craig situation. So she's like, I had to listen to my body. Anyway, Ciara's like, we got to still set up the trampoline in the backyard. She has like this really tight red spandex, and she comes into the kitchen, and Carl's like, hey, like you could tell Carl is really, as a summer house connoisseur, you can tell that, this guy is like, oh my God, if Ciara had tan lines, this would be the perfect woman ever. Jesse's like, don't worry, I'm going to help. And Ciara's like, dude, we know you're not going to do anything. Just sit down. And Jesse's like, can I even say what I was going to say? Jesse now feel like the weight of the world is on Jesse Solomon. Paige DeSorbo finally pulls up in a chauffeured Uber. Anyways, they're putting all of this, like, I don't know what it's called, like draperies and all of this stuff. It's looking cute out there. It's no pirate party, but it's cute. Everybody is working on this. I don't mind these parties. I like that everybody pitches in and helps in a sense, right? So Lexi asked Jesse, are you excited for the party? He's like, I don't know, man. Ciara's being mad weird towards me. And then he has to go help like set up the trampoline. And then Lexi, Gabby, and Amanda Batula are out there on the porch, like doing something. And Amanda's like, hey, how are you and Jesse? Are you guys okay? I only ask because things are weird with him and Ciara right now. But also he keeps talking about yellow flags. One was with you about like not commenting on girls' photos on Instagram. And last weekend, I guess you asked him about girls he followed and then unfollowed on Instagram. And you kind of commented about that. And Lexi's like, neither of those things are true. One, with the following girls thing, she says, it was after Toggate. I get so many DMs about like red flags that like I should be aware of with Jesse. Like he started following all these girls literally since you and I started talking. That's weird. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I actually should give weight to things that people are saying. And Amanda's like, so it wasn't something that you were like stalking him on? And she's like, no, no. And Amanda's like, oh, it's like all these messages that you're getting. And Lexi's like, yeah, but what was the other thing? And Amanda says, oh, like commenting on girls' photos. And Lexi goes, no, all I said is I want you to hype the girls up nonstop, but like maybe don't be like, oh my God, you're the hottest bitch I've ever seen. I fucking love you. I want to marry you, blah, blah, blah. Maybe say, damn, you're looking great today. And then Amanda goes, it hurt my heart and soul, but I understood. I don't understand that comment. Like, Amanda, why did that hurt your heart and soul? Like, did you need him commenting that hard on your Instagram posts? Like, I didn't understand that comment from Amanda. But Lexi goes, I still want him to. And Amanda goes, yeah, but like in a different different manner. And Lexi's like, yeah. In a talking head, she goes, I honestly just wish that Jesse would have come to me with these things because then we could have had an adult relationship conversation about it. Instead, I feel like he's told only his perspective, but there's a whole other side of his actions that he completely left out. I feel extremely misunderstood right now, she says. It's just a really shitty situation for me to be in, especially from the guy I'm dating. Amanda says, I mean, I don't want to like make it a thing. And Lexi's like, no, I always want my girls to bring stuff up. I appreciate it. It's like a therapy session. And Amanda's like, yeah, but your side is just so crazy different than the things that he was saying. And Gabby's like, yeah, he'll tell us like bits and pieces that fit his narrative to make his point. And then we hear the other stuff. And it's like, okay, so now we're getting a fuller picture of what's going on. And Lexi says, and especially because I haven't done anything. He's the one doing shit. Like, I should not be trusting him. And then he's like FaceTiming me nonstop, calling me nonstop, sending me videos nonstop, almost to the point like too much. And I was like, I need to be able to like live. Amanda goes, I think he is extremely jealous. He won't admit it. He doesn't want to talk about it and is trying to paint you as the jealous one. And Lexi's like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, like how about the yellow flags? I have huge red flags for you. I mean, so it's very different to hear Lexi talk about this, and she speaks about it very intelligently where you completely believe her. This guy wants his cake and to eat it too. I don't know, whatever that saying is, right? So it's Saturday, 2:16 p.m., and we have a conversation I didn't expect to have. And I guess Kyle was sent a fertility kit. He's like, I had a kit sent, Schwartz, and you send this kit in on ice. He's like, look at this thing, Schwartzy. And he's like, it's all like this, all packaging is all set up. We see the bottle that he has to deposit his ejaculate in. And Kyle's like, it was like, don't ejaculate for 2 to 5 days. And I'm like, okay, so I'm fully loaded right now. And Schwartz is laughing. And he says in a talking head, I just recently got a little red flag on my blood work. So I'm like, all right, let's make sure my boys are good. It's not like that we're trying to have kids. But maybe I stood a little too close to the microwave. I don't know what kind of impact that has. And so I'm going to get my boys tested, right? And Schwartz is like, yeah, I mean, like, it'd be crazy if you're sterile and you can't have kids. I mean, that'd be fucking heartbreaking. And Kyle's like, you wanted to have kids, right? And Schwartz is like, yeah, for sure. Were you guys ever close, he says? And Schwartz is like, yeah, I mean, we went to the fertility clinic. We did the whole thing. And we flash back to Katie and Schwartz 5 years ago with a fertility doctor. And she's like, I have your semen analysis. The number that was a little bit on the lower side is called the morphology. We want to have normal shaped sperm heads. Yours is 4%. And Schwartz is like, so only 4% of my sperm have normal shaped heads? Katie is not happy with Schwartz's comment in this. Back in this scene, Schwartz is like, that was like a year before we got divorced. And Kyle's like, were you guys trying? He's like, no, but that was part of the plan. You know, it would have been a cute kid. And Kyle was like, in retrospect, wasn't that a red flag that you weren't even trying? And Schwartz is like, possibly at that point in the relationship, 13 years in. And then Schwartz is like, did you guys set a timeline? And Kyle's like, I thought you wanted to have kids by now. I think it's like, it's not a matter of like if, it's a matter of like when. He's also wearing a camouflage hat that says live free or die. Anyway, Schwartz is like, you're going to be a good dad. And then Kyle's like, I think you'd be an amazing dad. I like when guys gassy. It's like Jesse Solomon on comment sections. I think you'd be a good dad. And then Kyle's like, well, I got to go rub one out. And then Schwartz is like, hey, have you ever tried tan line porn? We're laughing about tan line porn again. Woo! Summer house forever. So Lindsay has to go take a nap because she's pregnant. We find out that Lexi's laying down in her bedroom and Jesse comes in. It's like, is everything all right? Can I get a hug? What's up with all these men needing hugs? And she's like, yeah, everything's fine. And he's like, are you upset? Did I do something? Is everything okay? And she's like, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. So this is Jesse's not so good, horrible, terrible day that is starting to happen. Anyways, Kyle has his sperm sample. He's going to go drop that in the mail. God, just pray for these mailmen, right? So Jesse's like wandering around going, something's wrong with Lexi. I think it's related to me. I don't know what it is. And he's talking to Wes. He's like, she doesn't want to talk about it. And Wes is like, have you asked the girls? Like, he's just blind leading the blind. So we have Amanda, Batula, Paige, DeSorbo, and West all on the gigantic bed that they've built outside. And Ciara's hanging up pink bows on it. And they're all laying in this gigantic bed. And Paige is like, it took 8 years for everybody to take me seriously. She's brought her bed bug disease out into the environment. This thing is going to spread like flipping COVID. Anyways, they're talking about Lexi and Jesse. It's like, I think there's something's wrong. I think that's what he said. And Amanda goes, well, that's probably my fault. And Paige is like, yes. And Amanda's like, well, when I was blowing up the balloons, she sat down with me. So I told her about the conversation about the yellow flags that he has with her. And Wes is like, she already made him unfollow girls on Instagram. Which I'm like, that's kind of that's for later. And Amanda goes, I said that to her. And she goes, I never asked him to do that. I get DMs about him all the time and don't believe it. There's two sides to the story, it seems, Amanda says. And it also sounds like he's making her sound very jealous when from her side, it's him that's a jealous one. And we see Jesse by himself, setting something up. And Wes is like, well, he is jealous though. And Amanda's like, and then he's playing it cool and then saying passive aggressive things to her about it. And Paige is like, those little passive aggressive comments are just pure insecurity. Amanda says it's to the point where she's saying that he's breathing down her neck all the time. And Wes is like, he FaceT'd, he FaceTimed her in the car and on the drive here and was like, I'll call you in a little. And I was like, bitch, we'll be at our house in a fucking hour. And Amanda's like, I didn't take him as the jealous type. And Wes is like, I didn't either. And Amanda goes, that's what I'm saying. He's playing it cool. She's jealous. She's all over him. She's obsessed with him. But we keep asking him about the boyfriend-girlfriend thing. And it's kind of her that's hesitant on him and not him. And Wes is like, oh, no. Floor is dropped out for Wes Wilson. No, not my boy. No. So everybody went all out on their costumes. Tom Schwartz is dressed he's all in white with angel wings. The girls are dressed as bedspreads / face masks. Gabby is dressed as a sheep and it says the number 11 on it, counting sheep. She looks awesome. Kyle has a sloth mask on. The sloth mask looks great. Lindsay is dressed as a teddy bear that you sleep with. And it is interesting, Paige, Amanda, and Ciara, their things are full draperies where they can cover themselves with it and actually be a bedspread. This you could literally market to women easily. You could market it to me. There should be a bro version of this as well. Anyways, we're getting pictures of the girls outside and we have an ice luge there. The summer house is popping off. Jesse is talking to pregnant Lindsay. That's her name, pregnant Lindsay. And she's like, what's going on with you? And he's like, oh, dude, I don't know. What the fuck? And Lindsay's like, because you and Lexi are in a question mark? And he's like, no, she's giving me I'm still processing if I'm upset with you and I'm not ready to talk to you about it. I'm like, what did I do? And Lindsay's like, why don't you just ask her? And he's like, I have. That would be the logical thing to do. And Lindsay's like, yeah, why don't you just be like, hey, are you upset? Let's talk. And then Wes Wilson is dressed like a little kid, a little old-timey kid. He looks like he's in a high school production of Peter Pan or the outfit that Ebenezer Scrooge is wearing at the, Christmas morning and Christmas night, right? So Lexi comes up to Jesse and the gang and he goes, hey, are you upset with me? And she goes, yes. And he's like, do you want to talk about it? And she goes, yes. Actually, it's verging on I could almost be pissed. And Jesse's like, dag nabbit, Bobby, which is a King of the Hill reference. So they sit on the big bed that Paige inspired. And she's like, so there's been a couple things. And she takes off his sunglasses that have been brought to my attention. It feels like you are low-key talking shit behind my back. He's like, what's the issue that got brought to your attention today? She's like, the girls are telling me that you have yellow flags about me, making it seem like I'm some crazy jealous girl and all this stuff, when like you literally have a fat ass red flag if somebody's sucking your toe. Go, Lexi, go! And Jesse's like, that was a dumb, drunk decision. That was like a joke. Which, by the way, I've said this all the time. That's a very famous joke by Jerry Seinfeld, where on stage he would get his toes sucked in the 80s. What's the deal with toe sucking? But Jesse goes, this is a joke that I didn't think you would care about. And Lexi goes, but also what I've been told from when I'm not here, you act single. Everybody's telling me Jesse flirts too much. You should not be his girlfriend until he stops that. And Jesse's like, I can't control what my idiot friends say. My idiot, stupid friends say. And she goes, I know that, but it's how you're making them feel. You have to understand that your actions make other people feel icky. Your actions are seeming like you actually don't take this, what we're doing, serious at all. Like during the week, we're like super serious. And then I'm getting told this stuff and I'm like, what? Like, I feel like I have emotional whiplash. So cameras down, it's all serious. And then Jesse goes, everything's happening so fast right now. Like, I just feel like our relationship, and Lexi goes, let's slow it down. He goes, our relationship is so fragile. And Lexi goes, because of your actions and your words. He's like, oh, it's just too fast. Like, is she going to be done with me? And she goes, can I ask you a question? Have I done anything to make you feel how I feel right now? And he like tries to search for something. He's like, not that I can think of. And Lexi goes, nobody's saying anything about me that I'm flirting with anyone because I haven't done anything to you, but you give me reasons to feel not secure in our relationship. And like, I don't want to be in a relationship with someone who I can't trust. Finish him, Lexi. I mean, she nailed it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, she finished, like she spoke so clearly and like, just like, she's not a dummy, man. But she's like, I don't want to hear little pieces of information about the person that I want to be dating. And now that you've given me a reason to not trust you, now I'm going to listen to what other people say. And Jesse goes, this is all just making me resent my friends. Lexi goes, but you also have to understand that you're the one saying it. And Jesse's like, but like, dude, what? You want me to be a robot? Beep, bop, boop, bop, beep. And just like not talk to my friends? So do you see how he's trying to twist it? And she's like rolling her eyes like, are you kidding me? It's like, I'm going to tell him if my stupid idiot friends ask what's going on, I'm going to tell them. I'm an open book. And Lexi goes, that's annoying. That's not fair. I don't want you to be a robot. He's like, I'm trying to temper my emotions and everything. And Lexi goes, but other people are saying that you're taking it too far. Everybody sees that you seem like your intention is to hook up with somebody. And like, I literally look stupid. And Jesse's like, well, they won't say that to my face, so I don't know what to tell you. He's not accepting his own behavior or his own part in all of this. It's his friends or it's Lexi. And Jesse goes, I'm going to talk to him. That's all I can say. This isn't about them. It's about you. And Lexi goes, I don't like that you're like saying I can't be a robot. That's not nice for you to say. I'm not asking you to be a robot. I'm just asking you to not, one, make me look stupid, and two, talk shit behind my back. We see Wes going, is Jesse getting his fucking shit cooked right now? And Ciara's like peeking. It's like, oh yeah, now they're chatting. Uh-oh. They have sheer curtains on the bed. Jesse goes, I just know that we have a great, genuine connection. And I thought we were going to leave this weekend being like, whoa, we're boyfriend, girlfriend. Like, I'm not giving up on this by any means, but like, I don't know what to tell you. And Lexi goes, I literally just want a relationship that I'm happy in and that I fully trust my person. And I'm really not trying to like beg for a relationship. So I don't know what to say, anything else. Very well done, Lexi. Very well done. Anyways, Tom Schwartz is doing an ice luge with, what is this? Malibu rum. He's like, no, Wes, don't make me do this. Oh, no. God, to be young again. My God. Anyways, Carl is talking to Ciara under these lights, and he's like, "Are any guys for you here?" And she's like, "No." He's like, "Ah, you're like what? Are you enjoying being with the girls, Ciara?" Now he's like, you can tell Carl's made up his mind that he has a crush on Ciara because he's like being super awkward. He's like, "Are you enjoying your time with the girls?" And she's like, "Yeah, honestly, when I go out, I'm never like on the prowl." He's like, "Yeah, more life." In a talking head, Carl goes, "So I've hung out with a few girls this summer, but honestly, they're not Ciara. I really haven't met anybody up until this point that I can feel just emotionally vulnerable and can get on a deeper level with. And being single Carl and just wanting to overshare and over communicate, I feel like I should just tell her. Like, because when she walks in the room, I'm like, I mean, yeah. I mean, we're also leaving. She's like a fucking supermodel too." But Carl even goes, "Yeah, she's a babe." I wonder how much of like, what's the percentage of, like I'm having these deep conversations and she's a super babe. Like, what, anyways, I don't know. It's like, and I feel bad because I don't think this is going anywhere. And I just want Carl, like, I want good things for Carl. Anyways, Lindsay pulls Paige aside and she goes, "Hey, I just wanted to ask, is everything okay, Paige? I was like, earlier, I didn't see you. And last week you like hightailed it out of here. This week you're like not here on a Friday. Is everything okay?" And Paige is like, "No, I was just like feeling anxious and like overwhelmed. And I just needed one day to like sleep, wake up like when my body wakes up, and then I'll come out." That's called star power, folks. She is a star and she gets to do what she wants now. I'm joking. Paige goes, "How are you feeling, Lindsay?" And Lindsay's like, "I'm good. I feel like it's 3 months. I'm having a baby. I can't believe it. Right?" And so they're laughing about how crazy that is. And Lindsay points out Lexi and Jesse. She's like, "These two over here, like, yikes." And Paige goes, "Yikes on bikes." I love the friendship that we have formed between Paige and Lindsay. And Paige is like, "It's kind of wild with Lexi and Jesse." And Paige is like, "What is she upset about?" And Lindsay go, "He's painting a picture of Lexi being jealous or this or red flags, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, she's like, what the fuck? He's leaving out half the story." And Paige goes, "Yeah, no, he's not ready." And Lindsay goes, "These boys can't get it together to save their lives." I mean, these women know it more than anybody. They're in a place with all these men that are potentially emotionally unavailable. We cut back to Jesse, and Jesse's like, "All right, we're ending this conversation. I wish we were ending this conversation on a better note, but I don't want to miss this whole bed party." Oh my God. So Lexi goes over and sits with the girls as Jesse goes inside, and they're like, "Are you okay, girl?" And she's like, "I'm fine." He's just like, it's frustrating. Like, there's nothing that I can do to change things. It's only in him. And he keeps saying, "Oh, our friends are stirring the pot. Our friends are stirring the pot." I don't believe that. Like, it's your actions. You're being mad at the middleman when it starts with you. We go inside. Jesse's there, and Wes comes up to him. He's like, "What happened, broski?" And Jesse's like, "Dude." And Wes is like, "What?" He's like, "Oh, dude." And they're laughing like, "Oh." I'm just like dumbfounded. Like, am I like the biggest idiot ever? And you think there would be a period on that statement and we end the episode, but no, he keeps going. Am I like the biggest idiot ever? Or is like everything just get taken out of context so heavily by like people that I think are my friends? Like, the girls are saying one thing to me and then another thing to Lexi. And it's just like, what the fuck? It's like, they're just trying to stir shit up. And that makes me feel like they're not my actual friends. And Wes is like, "Yeah, but was that talk bad, obviously?" And Jesse's like, "Yeah, the whole thing was bad." And it's just sad because like, I could be having such a fun time at this party. It has beds, and the work I do on beds. I don't want to be arguing with the girl that I'm exclusively dating. And like I said to her, I thought we would leave this weekend like boyfriend, girlfriend. I dangled that amazing prize at her. And Wes is like, "So not now?" And Jesse's like, "Definitely not." Like, what the fuck? And Wes is like, "Jesus Christ." Oh. And he tells Wes, he goes, she said, "Have I ever given you anything to worry about? I just feel like I've changed my behavior already," he says to Wes, "and I'm being good." And then shit gets brought up from 3 weeks ago. And it's also just keeps coming back to me getting my toe sucked. And Wes is like, "Toggate is still relevant?" It's just like, yes, every time I try to defend myself. she's like, well, you went into a room and got your toe sucked. And I'm like, dude, that's a joke. And Wes is like, that's the best joke. He doesn't say that, but you know what I mean. Cut to the girls. Lexi goes, I'm actually so thankful that you told me, because if we were like in the normal world of not having a share house, I wouldn't know. You know, like he didn't even tell me about Toggate. And Paige is like, if the roles were reversed, chaos, anarchy, Gabby says. And Lexi goes, okay, get this. Last weekend, we were all at Common Ground. And so Wes is standing above me. He's like holding me, whatever. He's drunk. And I'm like making sure he's good. Jesse literally says to me, just so you know, how you were with Wes tonight is even worse than I was the weekend that you were away. And I said, I'm sorry. And Paige's face is like, no fucking way. And she's like, yeah, you let somebody suck your toe and I'm hanging out with your best friend in front of you. And he thinks that's the same thing. In a talking head, Lexi goes, I think the hypocrisy of Jesse right now is a little crazy. I can't tell him to respect our relationship and comment my friends are so beautiful on photos instead of being like, you hot piece of ass. Yet I'm doing something wrong by helping his, no offense to Wes, overly drunk best friend. Like, if I was doing the things that Jesse was doing, I would be in so much trouble. It's so, oh my God, the way we treat men and women are so differently. Gabby's like, the way he's trying to make you feel for calling him out on his bullshit. And Lexi goes, I mean, I thought we were like moving through things like a regular couple where it's like, oh, here's an issue. You move past it. You communicate through it. And Paige goes, you guys don't have a strong enough foundation yet. Back to Jesse, he goes, every time something happens, Wes, I'm like, are we even that close? Like the foundation of our relationship just gets shaken. And I'm like, Wes, by the way, Wes, you know, is just like buzzed to like 3 sheets of the wind. He's like, what's a foundation? He goes, but he does say, he goes, but what's the foundation? And Jesse's like, yeah, I mean, right. There is none. And Wes is like, yeah, because you met her a fucking month ago, brother. God damn it, dude. Oh, that's because Kyle the sloth walks in and he has a like creepy sloth mask on. By the way, we should set a horror film in the summer house. Like, I don't know if the summer house people are good actors, but like a slasher film in the summer house. Anyways, we're going to dance off this pain. They go back outside to the party and hit the dance floor. Cut to Paige. She says, do you really like him, Jesse? And Lexi goes, I do. And then he says, he's like, you know, Paige goes, no, it's just that you guys have had a lot of tension and random things for it to only be a month and a half. Like if you're not fully in it, and she's like giving peace signals, like peace out. And Lexi goes, I just keep saying, I'm like, I'm sorry. Have I done anything to make you feel icky? No. I can name 5 things that I think you've done. And then he's like, I don't know what to say. Like, I feel like I've changed so much, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all this stuff happened. And they're like, changed when? And they're like, Lexi, look, if someone says to you, Paige says, that they have to change so much for you, you should walk away. Strong words from Paige, Giggly Squad, DeSorbo, but actually she's dead on right. So we end the episode next week on Summer House. And we have Carl pulling Ciara and going, I feel I should just tell you now. I kind of have a crush on you. And Ciara's like, zoinks, get me out of here. And then we have Jesse and Lexi in the kitchen with all the Summer House cast. And Jesse's like, I still don't feel like I was talking shit. And Lexi goes, I don't want to be exclusive. Shove it out the fucking window. I am done, she says. Woo! And then we have a scene of Tom Schwartz in the angel wings still. And Kyle says, I would have never have thought I would not have kids by now. So the sperm conversation continues next week. And then we see Amanda talking to Kyle, and Amanda says, there's some days where I'm like, should I even have kids? I'm not suited to take care of something else. Maybe if you had gotten in a little earlier all of those times, she would be more. No, I'm joking, guys. Anyways, great episode of Summer House. I hope you have the best weekend ever. We'll be back on Monday with a pop culture roundup. I put out 2 new Patreons yesterday, and one yesterday and one today with the Valley after show recap. So patreon.com/so bad it's good if you want to keep the conversation going, and also rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on YouTube if you want to see this beautiful face of the birthday boy. Okay, wish me luck in Vegas. Bye, guys.